expect. That's what I do to you, right? I just everything. Surprise, Sean. Welcome.
I don't know how this got so out of my control so quickly, but I'm yeah, surprises.
Is there anything better than a surprise for someone whose driver is creating order? I feel like this just eats you alive
It kills
a
me.
little bit.
Kills me. And yet you keep doing it to me.
That's what good friends are for, right?
With friends like these. All right.
Let's see what happens.
All right.
Welcome back to The Ether, the show that disrupts the way you think about running your business. Join me, Brandon, and my co-host, Sean Delaney, the creator of What If, on today's episode. Our goal is to provide context around what we talk about so you have the clarity to cut through the noise and the confidence to grow and run a truly harmonious business. Let's jump in and take the next step to achieving business freedom.
That sounds great. Surprise. Let's do this. Let's do it.
Welcome back to The Ether. I'm excited for this one. Usually I just show up. It's Wednesday morning when we usually record these. And I'm like, hey, here's what we're talking about. How do you feel about that, Sean? And he's like, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, this time.
Is that what I do?
We're coming. Yeah, most of the time. This time we're coming in 100% blind. You only saw the title 30 seconds ago.
I have no idea.
We're going to unpack this live, but I want to show you really, this is me kind of bragging about your skill to unpack everything business distilled down through the architecture. Everything
gets buttering simpler. Me up.
Everything gets simpler when you have an architecture. That's my whole point with this. So what are we talking about? We are talking about, it's all the buzz in the news with anyone who's between the ages of 13 and 18. TikTok ban. What does the TikTok ban have to do with your small business? Now, here's why it's a big thing outside of that age group. There's 170 plus million Americans, just Americans, on TikTok. We are using it to consume content. We're using it to create content as business owners. We're using it to shake our butts and dance, and that's a whole different side of TikTok. Sean, I know you're on that side. You post some really cool videos. But outside of that,
hey, if I have no problem with me making videos of shaking my butt. And I'm sure they're out there. I've made money in that space before. No, but that makes more sense to me than some of the other nonsense that people are using it for. But I like this topic. Keep going. Don't let me get in the way.
So aside from shaking our butts, people are using, we're in just the business context. There are millions of people using TikTok to promote their businesses. Now, Congress comes down. They say, nope, we're going to ban TikTok. The Senate has followed suit. Joe Biden has followed suit, and TikTok is banned. It's not immediately banned. It's going to take about a year. There's going to be a whole bunch of money spent in courts to make sure this doesn't happen. But the question still comes to mind. If you have only one channel to market your business, to grow your business, to collect leads, to get in front of your ideal customers, things could happen in the marketplace to totally derail that. And this is not new. If we look back just a few years ago to COVID, this happened to us. So the fact that we didn't learn from that, and now we're facing this potentially again, there's a lot of similarities, and I want to unpack that. And Sean, what I want to do on this episode, however long it takes us, there are 5 questions I want to ask.
Yeah.
They come from a very special diagnostic that we have. And it's how you can set yourself up to make sure that your marketing channels and the growth and visibility of your business isn't limited by external market forces or the president based on what bill they sign into law. How does that sound?
That sounds good. Were you self-serving marketing huckster? I'm kidding. No, that's fantastic. Let's do this. No, because we do solve for this, because this does frequently happen. TikTok is not the first time this happened, and it's not the last time it's going to happen. Why don't we learn? So first of all, there's a lot of things to unpack about TikTok and people using it for business. You can't give me a number. Don't you realize 1 bajillion people use this thing to do a thing? It's terrible. It's going away. I don't know if they're using it effectively or not. You gave me no other details other than a lot of people use it. That would be like Marlboro coming out in the 1950s and saying, don't you realize how many people smoke? People cope with this. Don't you want people to be able to cope? It's their coping mechanism. Half these people will go postal if they're not taking a cigarette break. You can't get rid of this. Oh, I can't. Well, with stats like that, I guess it's got to be good. TikTok is a cancer. It was a mind bomb shot right at the hearts and minds of our most vulnerable population in order to either deviate them from where they should be spending their time and where their attention should be, or just to open themselves up to giving over all of our secrets, everything we know, everything we think, and everything we do so that we can be manipulated. How do we know this? Because TikTok is not the same in every country. It is a virulent, vile, shiny object that is luring people towards something that isn't to their benefit, while in other countries, it is more of an education tool. How could that possibly be? Is it because of the users here? Yeah, if you believe the United States was a country of moronic, infantile consumers.
No, I do believe that.
And egomaniacs. And if you believe that, right, then of course it was the user experience. It's just that the users drove it there. That's complete BS. And so we've had, Brandon, you and I, just up until a couple of months ago, had people close to us saying, if your business isn't on TikTok, you're nuts. You got to get there. This is the place, right? Just like Clubhouse. If we weren't a Clubhouse, we wouldn't be in business. Enough people with picking the, you want to start a delivery business. Is your delivery business's success based on the timeliness and politeness and accuracy, 5 other metrics of the driver, the delivery person, or is it the car they're driving? You know what'll help our flower delivery business? What? Better vans. Well, I guess if you're suffering with van breakdowns, for all the people that want to then find holes in the story, helpful analogy I'm giving, well, maybe you have crappy vans. Maybe. That's not what we're talking about. We're saying the core to your business isn't the vehicle. So if you tell me my business is dead because TikTok goes away, then I had a shitty business and I shouldn't be in business. Because I created a vehicle-specific value delivery, which is nonsensical.
It is. It's a very important question. Are we choosing Ford, Chevy, or Dodge? So for the delivery business in America, we have to ask that question. In other countries, we don't. Kidding, obviously. But we're picking on TikTok. This is true of all social media platforms because TikTok is being banned. Yes, but on other platforms, Facebook, for example, this happened to YouTube too. So very recently for us, we were kicked off both of those platforms for violating the user agreements, whatever that means. I have no idea what we did. We posted these videos and there was a link in one of them. So Facebook locked our account for a week. And then on YouTube, we got locked out for a week because one of our guests' names on our other podcast, Harmonious at Lunch, quick side note, number 25 business podcast in Sweden as of today. So
the Swedish.
Love you, Sweden. But
my kids are huge fans of their Swedish fish.
I don't know if that's from them.
Oh.
But one of our guest names appeared sexual in nature. I didn't name the guy. I'm really sorry, YouTube. Like, please don't kick us off for stuff like that. But this is out of your control. So if we were relying on any of those platforms solely to market our business or connect with our customers, we'd be screwed. So the lesson is way outside of just TikTok. We're going to ask you these 5 questions to make sure you have a handle on how you're running your business. What's the point of growing your business and where are you going with it? Or are you just looking at the tools and the tactics and saying, nope, my business is on TikTok, don't care about actually growing a business, and I'm just going to follow the masses and see what happens.
It's the stupidest thing. Okay, let's go.
Let's do it. Okay. Question number 1. If you're
Yeah.
listening, I'll put these in the show notes, wherever you are, watching, listening, whatever. But, well, I'm also going to do this. If you want to take this assessment and see these questions and
Oh,
answer them for yourself, it's on the screen. It'll also be in the show notes. Go take the bad. It'll
taking
take
action.
8 minutes.
Taking action. Who does that?
Yeah, the smart people do. Anyway, question number 1. These are on a sliding scale, so I'm going to reframe them into questions. It may look a little bit different if you get onto the bad. The original statement is we have strategies and tactics for marketing. So the question would be, what are my business's strategies and tactics for marketing? So Sean, let's unpack this question. What are we trying to answer when we ask this question?
So when I ask that question, I have strategies and tactics for marketing. We're really looking to see, and obviously the answer isn't just yes. We unpack that and go into what they are. It is surprising though when people say, I guess not. I just do the marketing things, right? Or they say, yes, well, what's your strategy? I'm on TikTok. That's not a strategy, right? So we're really testing in this question, because the question alone in as you know, in the diagnostic doesn't give us the full answer. We have to unpack why they said yes, no, maybe, sometimes. And that is really a, have you thought strategically about the way in which you market and the vehicles that you use, and are not solely attached to one? Because like we said, if you come and say, well, the only way I do this is through TikTok, I mean, my God. So your business couldn't have existed in the 1930s, right? Like, what is it that you do? Well, I give advice to troubled men going through midlife crises. Okay. Well, where do you do that? I do that by crying on TikTok videos. Okay. What if TikTok went away? Well, you're screwed. Well, why would I? Was it, if it's only valuable if the vehicle exists? Like, what would it have been valuable before TikTok existed? Your offer? If the answer is no, then your vehicle's dependent somehow, and so you're either seeing what you're doing wrong, or if it really is vehicle dependent, then you don't really control your business, do you? Regulators control your business. That business controls your business. Like, you don't control anything. And so you haven't distilled it down, your offer down to the essence of what it is. If your entire business is, I run Facebook ads, well, what if Facebook goes away? Well, I'm screwed. You're not screwed. Distill down to the essence of what you do, what you are doing. Find what is the value you really give. I help people, busy entrepreneurs, navigate because you must have learned things about marketing through helping with those Facebook ads, right? You can then say that your offer is, we're not gonna retrofit people's offers now, but the idea would be, what is the essence of what you're doing? Well, I've learned this about marketing and this about finance and this about the levers that make people buy or not buy. Great. So that is what you help people navigate. And right now you're doing it on Facebook, but you might do it on other platforms in the future. Yes, good. You can survive it if they go down, but have a plan. Think about that. Right. And if you couldn't have done it before the technology should make it easier to do it. That's why real lawyers, didn't panic when AI ChatGPT came out. We heard people saying, well, that's it for lawyers. Are you out of your mind? You're one of those people, aren't you? Technology can disrupt things but it should be a tool to make these jobs easier, not the only thing that makes them viable.
Yeah. Well, that's a good example. I'm composed now. Thank you for that, by the way. So now,
were you hysterical before? Were you hysterical?
Yeah, I was crying a little bit. I was trying to control my laughter. Anyway, TikTok's like 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old. So if you're saying that in 2018, if this business was not viable. I mean, we're talking modern technology. You said 1930, but realistically, like 5 years ago, if you couldn't do what you're doing now 5 years ago, you don't have a business. You have
No.
some other version of making money, which is fine. But what we're trying to get at today is, if you want to make money, you have to look at it through the lens of this architecture to actually build a business. So we're unpacking all of that here. So thank you for that. Okay. So we have strategy and tactics. That's the first question. The second statement is, we effectively utilize a customer relationship management application, a CRM. So the question, turning that into a question, is, do we use, and then how do we effectively use a CRM to manage and communicate with our customers? So this one kind of seems obvious, but I know everything has 7-8 layers beneath it when we ask these questions. So let's unpack what we're getting at with that question.
Several things we're testing with that. One, are they leveraging? Because you can, okay. Oh, I tried to unpack the whole suitcase at once. All right, let me do this.
Just dump it over.
So, yes. If you can find both people in the marketplace right now, I have both of ends of this spectrum in my life right now, in all the business dealings we have. There are people still in the workforce who are business card Rolodex driven. If you even know what some of those words mean, Brandon, I think you know the first one. I don't know if you know what a Rolodex is.
So someone dropped that on Harmonious the other day. They were like, "Wait a minute, you look young. Do you know what a Rolodex is?"
Yeah.
I know what a Rolodex. We're good. I'm up to speed.
And then there's other people who, if they're not staring at their phone, a picture of me on their phone, they wouldn't know me if they met me face to face, because they don't look at people in the face very often. It's all digital. Those are the two extremes that we have. Right? So what I'm testing is, one, can I pull you away from just trying to keep things in your head or in your team's head? Are we using some kind of technology so we could automate some things here for you? Because some of these people are still the ones that show up and say, I have no time and I need more leads. And then we unpack all that and go, you don't even have the system to capture this and weaponize it. So that's one thing we're looking at there. So I want to see, how do they think about these things? Are they collecting things in any way? And then the word effectively is purposefully in there to say, because we know plenty of people who, I capture everything. Oh man, I capture data like you wouldn't believe. How many of these people have you followed up with? Well, none of them really. And I just start pinging them with nonsense that they don't really care about. That's also not what we're talking about. So you see that the reason we can ask 5,000 points of data in just 50 questions is because each one is I've been doing this for 25 years with this. The words are very specific and purposeful to try to just unearth some of the things that we then, Brandon, would probe into. Right. So that's what I'm looking for there. Did I miss something? There's probably 3 other things too, but
no, a good example of this would be, first of all, we're not the best at this. We don't have a 10 in this area. So we're not saying that everyone's got to be perfect, but it's a path to get there. One of my favorite stories, though, is somebody we both know, and his CRM, I chuckled a little bit the first time I heard about it, was his cell phone, the contact app on his cell phone. And he said, no, I have over 500 people's numbers in here. And what I do is, you love this, Sean, I put notes in their contact data. And that's how I know how I met them and everything I need to know about them. And my first question back to him was, because we were in a conversation with him, an assistant, and they were trying to grow the company. And I was like, how does your assistant know all of this stuff? And he's like, well, she doesn't, but it's in the notes section on my phone. I said, that's not a CRM.
Love it. Right.
So yeah, it's a scale.
I guess by definition, he's managing his customer relationships, just not effectively.
Not effectively. Can't scale past you. It shouldn't. There should be no bottlenecks in this system. Everybody in your company should be able to access it. Everyone who needs to should be able to access it. So think about it that way. But yeah, that's the CRM in a nutshell. Okay, cool. So we're getting Well, let's relate this back to TikTok, the first two. So we already did that with the strategies and tactics. Being on an app is not a strategy.
No.
CRM, if you're just hoping for likes and comments and you never get people's phone numbers, email addresses, any way to contact them outside of this app, you don't have this at all. That would be a 0. We don't even let people put zeros on this assessment. That would be a 0. I'd have to manually go in and change it.
Although I do really enjoy when you post things just to get a rise out of people, and they take the bait every time, and they're like, I'm going to interact with your post 11 times and show you. That's fantastic. Like, it gets me, it warms my heart. Anyway, so go ahead. What's the next question?
Exactly. All right. Question number 3. We have a well-defined customer avatar, in quotes, a model of our ideal customer. So the question is, do we have this? Yes. And then explain it. Explain your customer avatar, like write it out in detail. And Sean, before you unpack this one thing I just want to say real quick that I thought was really valuable. So for those of you listening to this, you must love podcasts. We love you. Go to Harmonious at Lunch. Look up the episode that I did with Courtney Shaw. The way she explained this was, I thought, very unique and very cool. Instead of the word customer avatar, she said it's a muse. She likes to picture her ideal customer as a muse. And the way that she describes them is they are actually real customers who she has that she can describe in detail. We're not talking about fake people and giving them fake names and fake jobs and whatever. It's creating your avatar off of people you actually serve, because then you can more effectively know them, have a relationship with them, and duplicate them. Anyway, that's just a little plug for Harmonious at Lunch. It was episode 67 or so. So Sean, well-defined customer avatar.
No, it's a plug for Courtney Shaw. Shaw,
yes.
Courtney.
Love you, Courtney. Yes,
Courtney
thank you for being a guest.
Courtney Shaw. Good on you. Muse is better. Muse is better. We're changing it. Brandon?
It is changed.
Rewrite. Make it so number 1. Rewrite all the copy, all the language, and give me by Monday a list of all the videos I need to reshoot because we're going with Muse. It's better. And this is how you pivot. We're going to give her full attribution. This is how you pivot and move, and how the interactions with brilliant, beautiful people around that you are harmonious with can play and grow together. So good on her. It's now my favorite episode. No spit takes. You're in a very small room.
We'll link to it down below.
Below back. All right. Wonderful. Next question. The 4th, I believe.
Well, we didn't unpack that. So
unpack it. I thought you did.
And we did. Just recording the credit.
So what I would say, we're going kind of long today, I guess, but so
this is important.
On the avatar, well, how we do it, I don't want to get people. You need to know the wants and needs, the jobs that your clients, customers need done in their lives, more so than. I don't like those exercises where people go so deep in it and they're like, well, this is where they hang out on Sunday afternoon at 2:15. It's too much. You're digging too far down and you're getting too specific, and you're going to we've had this debate, niche or niche. I only say niche. Well, yeah, and you also say vase. But for anyone who says vase, I'm talking to you.
Vase? Wait a minute. It's vase. It's a Z. I know it's spelled with an S.
Some people say vase too. I know it's vase. Some people say vase. Some people say vase. Some people say vase. Some people say, and I was looking for Visine. I thought I had a bottle of Visine. So the container you put water and flowers in. For those people, niche. You can niche past the point. You can niche too deep. You can niche past the leverage point. And so we've used the example before. If someone says, well, I do fitness programs for 50 plus teenage men who are divorced, former military, who love antiquing. We go, okay, wait. Could the value you bring help somebody if they fit all that criteria and they don't do antiquing? Yeah, they could. So why are we also saying and they have to love antiquing? Because I like antiquing. Okay. And so unless you're trying to have a social club where you're just meeting other people with all your likes and interests, and that's your jam and you don't want to expand past that, if you're truly trying to serve people with the value you have, maybe we take that up one notch. And maybe we take it up a notch from there. Maybe they don't have to be ex-military. Now, is that, no, it's key because of these reasons. Great. Do they have to be divorced? Yes, for these reasons. Okay. Or, well, no, right? Because I love them. I only work with women. Could your offer help men? Yes. How dare you? You're not helping a lot of people. I'm not interested in that. I don't like it. I only want to help women. Okay. So then that is fine. You can retire incredibly wealthy and satisfied doing only that. Just telling you that if the niche you're picking and you go one layer down, if that doesn't change how you market or how you can impact people, then you might not be in the right place. And you might be digging in a place saying, well, there's no water here because you drilled past the reservoir. And you're now beneath the surface where you really could be having huge impact and huge success. So beware of going too far deep. And that's what can happen. The siren song of perfect avatar, get all the details every single place, because we don't want to leave any rocks overturned. What's the phrase, right? We want to look under every rock, right? We don't want to leave any rock not overturned. So that's what I say about that.
Yeah.
That
So this
news is good. When we say avatar, we don't go into all the psychographics and all that kind of nonsense until it matters, because there's some point of delineation that makes sense. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Get out there, stop overthinking your marketing, hit the point where the most interested people would be.
Yeah. So this on TikTok or social, well, let's focus on TikTok. So that's what you're talking about. If you are only focused on what your avatar wants to watch on one platform, that's where you're missing the boat, because you need to define where they would be on all platforms. Should you need to pivot in a case like this where you get banned off a platform, or you need to the platform itself gets banned. You need to understand who you serve and why you serve them, which for us really takes care of itself in navigation. Totally different discipline. The bulk of this work comes from there. But if you just like know who buys your stuff on a surface level and they happen to be on TikTok, you're going to be in really rough shape, because if you take that to any other platform, it will look different if you don't have this stuff done. If you don't know who your muse is.
And yeah, and think about, yeah, because for someone to say to me, you're dead if you're not on TikTok, it violates the principles that we talk about when we talk about ubiquity, which is how we talk about marketing, which is you want to be all the places, not all places. You want to be all the places your muse expects to find you in the ways they expect to find you. I don't expect to see a president of my country on TikTok doing a funny video. That's
But
bullshit.
you can.
That's bullshit. I grew up, I grew up in the 80s. I expect Reagan. Always, from every president. That's what I expect. I don't expect that. And so for someone to say, well, you should be shaking it on TikTok, I don't think the people who are investing in the various businesses that we are now controlling want to see me on TikTok. I think if they see me on TikTok, they think I'm not a serious person, because their view of TikTok is, what a bullshit platform and a Trojan horse for all kinds of vile things. Why are you on there? Are you stupid? That's what they would say to me. And so thank you, well-meaning advice that wasn't right on. The same thing. Those people don't care about Clubhouse. Hey, before you sign that $50 million check over to us, by the way, check out my Clubhouse jam. It's great. They're going to go, what are you doing? That doesn't match your resume or your brand promise. They expect me to, the brand here expects me to be, us to be a little irreverent and have a little fun in some places. We can be on YouTube, but those other places didn't make sense. You have to understand where they expect you to. Now, if you say my business, because of the brand promise I'm making, they do expect me to be there and they expect me to be goofy, and that's my entire thing. Cool, go for it. My kids watch this Papa Jake show. I'm not going to say anything bad about him here because they want me to get his autograph, or I don't know, have him come play a party or something. He's not Blippy. That's all I know. So Papa Jake, all right, fine. He's got this YouTube channel. I would never tell him, you shouldn't be on YouTube. It's not a serious place for you. And what's with all these Nerf guns and your box forts? That's his whole thing. So, and if somebody said you should also do some stuff on TikTok to advertise it, it's close enough to who he is and his brand. Sure, another vehicle. And then when that vehicle goes away, he says, I still have other vehicles where I can keep this irreverent thing that I've got going on. And I have access to more vehicles because of that. And that's the place in which he plays. And he's got his Lamborghini and he's very successful and happy and making box forts. That's great. It's totally great.
He's answered these 5 questions very well.
Right? What's that?
I said he's answered these 5 questions very well, obviously. But
very
that's
well
what we're getting at.
Very well for him. So awesome. But that's where the strategic thinking comes in these questions.
Yep. So let's do question number 4. We got 2 left, 4 and 5. So here's that word again, that magic word. We effectively capture, nurture, and convert leads. So do we effectively capture, nurture, and convert leads? And also, I would say, what are our, hopefully you have more than one process, but what are your processes for capturing, converting, and nurturing leads? Sean, unpack the question for me.
So it's, we're using up a lot of real estate with it because they are 3 distinct things. Mm-hmm. Because you can't just ask if you're effectively capturing them, because that doesn't do us any good. If then, I collect business cards at every meeting, and where do they go?
So that would be likes and comments.
What's that?
That would be for me, like if we're thinking about social media, likes and comments.
Likes and comments. Got likes and comments. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then what do you do with them? Well, right. And then do you talk to them? Are you giving value? By nurture, I mean providing value consistently, sustainably, in their favor, asking nothing in return, enough such that then they trust you. It's the know, like, and buy kind of sequence. And then can we convert them? That's the buy part. Because we know other well-meaning people who collect all that stuff, pump out lots of content that seems great, and they never ask anybody for a thing. They never pitch anything because they don't really even fully know what their offer is, but they just know they're out there and they're celebrating making 200 videos, and yet how many of them are clients? So
yeah, so if you're going to build a business off of social media, the capture part, like I said, is comments, likes, also subscribers, followers, whatever the platform calls those things. So you have, let's say, 100,000 followers on TikTok. You've sort of captured them, but you still, back to the CRM, like you don't have the information you need to contact them outside of this platform. And I would go a step further and say, even if you're a physical business, you like a physical retail location, you still need to be thinking about all this stuff. This happened to me in my last business. The road my company was on got shut down because they're doing whatever. There's so much construction in the town that was in. People could not physically come to my location it was like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. Significantly impacted the operation. I was not prepared for that. We had to kind of come up with something on the fly. So this is not just if TikTok gets banned. This is if something out of the ordinary happens. How do you capture, nurture, and convert those leads, or those potential leads, potential customers? The convert one is the interesting part. 100,000 subscribers on whatever platform does not mean you have customers. You may be getting paid by YouTube for views or TikTok for views, but you don't have a business still, because if that platform goes away, your income goes away. That's what we're trying to get you to think, is agnostic of this platform or any platform. If something happens, does my income get affected. And that is a very important process to analyze outside of how you're collecting those leads.
Amen.
Easy peasy. Question 4, question 5. Here we go. Wrapping this one up. This is a long episode, but this is, I don't think a lot of people consider this stuff, because we have conversations with business owners all the time, and they're like, oh, I never considered that, or I'm definitely not prepared for that. So appreciate you sticking around. Thank you, Sweden. Love you. We orchestrate.
New Zealand.
And New Zealand. We love the Kiwis. We
Kiwis.
orchestrate and stimulate referrals. Again, it's a compound question here. We have multiple parts, but they're very, very important. They can't be looked at separately. They have to look at together. So how do we, or what is our process to orchestrate and stimulate referrals?
So it's a process question, because we're not just saying, do you do it? Because they'll remember the times they did, even though it was 5 when they had 200 opportunities to do it. And so orchestrating it is saying, have we ahead of time, what is the orchestration? I am controlling this. I have thought about it. We have a process for it, and I am controlling it in some way, making sure that we have a program to ask for referrals. Can't just be great. Can I ask for it? I had a mentor years ago who said, I forget what it was, or something that was saying, well, I want this. She said, did you ever ask anybody specifically for that? I said, no. She said, you're not going to get anything you don't ask for. No. I don't know that that's true in life, but it was an interesting perspective from her that you got to ask for things. And so don't just think that being awesome means that people will refer you. Stimulate that in some way. Incentivize that in some way. First, be awesome.
Always be awesome. Be awesome just like we are, like, definitely. But outside of being awesome,
all day, every day, aside from being awesome, you have to stimulate and orchestrate that, incentivize that, ask for it.
Yeah, when people say word of mouth is their best marketing tactic, yes, and it's not orchestrating and stimulating referral. It is a referral, but you don't have a process built around orchestrating and stimulating the word of mouth referral. If someone's not incentivized, if you're not consistent with the way you, even if I were to say, if I did something for Sean, hey, would you mind connecting me with one other person who could use a lawn as beautiful as yours after I cut it, Sean? Like that, as simple as that would be a process to orchestrate and stimulate a referral. And then you could tweak it from there to optimize it.
People are happy to do it. They're happy to do it. They weren't thinking about it in that moment, but the second you ask them, they're like, yeah. Anytime I get a great service, if they're like, and could you also, I was already thinking about it, but you absolutely, this was fantastic. But they thought about that. I've had a lot of great work done over the years, and no one's ever asked me for a referral. I give it when I remember to, but I absolutely know when the guy did the water heater here in our house, or the well pump, loved it. I've told 5 people about it who needed his services. Great. He asked me for it.
Well, let's do that again. Let's shout out that business. What is the name of that business? Let's orchestrate and stimulate more referrals.
I knew you were going to do that because it's live and you do this to me. And now this poor guy, now I've got to shoot a separate promo video for this guy. No, I'm going to give you the name and you're going to shoot it. But anyway, it was 4 years ago. I haven't had asked anybody to. Here's what I would do. If you said I need a well pump and you live near me, I would go and get his card. I have it somewhere. I think his name was John. Great.
Well, yeah, that's fair. I had a similar issue, actually, and we live in the same area. So we're going to put both of them in the show notes. I'm going to shout out Stover's Wells and Pumps. And we're going to find out who Sean worked with. Was it Stover's? Good company. See what happens when you provide good service, though?
I'm going to find out.
The opportunity to stimulate and orchestrate referrals. So if you live in central New Jersey, go call Stover's if you need a well or a well pump. Anyway, we love all of our supporters. Those are the 5 questions. If you have a business that solely relies on a single marketing channel or method, please ask those 5 questions. It's been on the screen the whole time. It'll be in the show notes. Go take the full bad. Go answer all 45 other questions that are really, really important to make sure you have a holistic business that fits within an architecture that we happen to call harmonious. Sean, this is a long episode, but
Yes.
this is where there's going to be a lot of people figuratively. I know you're going to just take this around with it, caught with their pants down. Should this actually go through and and affect people's businesses? But we don't want that. We want you to build
Literally,
a business
they're
absent
shaking
of
their
relying
asses
on
on
one
TikTok.
tactic. See that? Get caught with your pants down, and then it's a different kind of TikTok video. That one goes on OnlyFans. More on that maybe next week.
All right.
Anyway, now that we're going to be canceled from all platforms,
They
this
can't
was fun.
cancel us. The truth is uncancelable.
Uncancelable. We'll go march in the streets and do this show. Anyway, I had fun. Hope you had fun. Thanks for listening. New Zealand, Sweden, we love both of you
And
equally.
everyone else.
And everybody else, should you fall somewhere in the middle, we love you too. We'll see you next week on the Ether.
Peace.